Hello, Virgo. I'm Chris. Welcome to your November reading. Now, I do apologize if I come off a certain way right now. I made the unfortunate mistake of checking the election results before I started this reading. And I won't get into politics here. This is not the space for it. There will be other videos where maybe that's more appropriate. But for the general tarot scopes, I'd rather keep that out of it, you know. But I will say, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, like, who the fuck likes Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz? Like, are you... Ted Cruz. Like, name one redeemable quality of that man. Anyway, hi Virgo, moving on. How have you been? Something tells me a little troubled. Something tells me that there's something about you guys that has kind of been holding back. Holding back emotionally. Specifically in certain ways, I think resisting love in certain ways and resisting happiness. This is something that I knew I said in the Taurus video because it was the second Earth sign video I did, and I was like, I want to see what comes up for Virgo, because there's so far a trend of Earth signs in November like seeking connectivity. I just meditated on Virgo before I started this reading, and what I felt was that you guys are sort of needing an influx of love and beauty this month. Dark Moon. The reason I laughed is because I saw this card as I was shuffling it. I've noticed that, like, while I'm seeing cards as I shuffle, like, they tend to come out or at least show some relevance in the reading. The Dark Moon. Where has Virgo been? Maybe a little isolated, maybe a little, like, rejecting of things that make you feel full. Maybe even a little, like, broody and sad. Maybe feeling a sense of loss. But Virgo, I think that the promise of the Dark Moon, especially because it is upright, right, is that it's the start of the moon cycle, right? Which means that things are coming to bear, right? So today I'm recording this on November 6th, and tomorrow is the new moon in Scorpio. Perfect opportunity to start building on the things that we are passionate about. And that's the name of the game, I think, for Virgo in November, is passion. When we talk about love, 9 of Cups, we're not just talking about romantic love, right? We're talking about love of the way we live our lives. The love of the things we do. Love of how we spend our days. Now, on the surface, Virgo, 9 of Cups tells us that, like, you're probably not doing that badly. You probably, at least in some ways of your life, have it pretty together. But you know, with these two cards together, the 9 of Cups, as much as it can be a card of wishes granted, it could also be a card of cheap thrills. It can be a card of superficial accomplishment, almost like materialism, right? This is the card of someone who, sorry, this tag on my back is itching the hell out of me all of a sudden. This is the card of someone who gets all the things they want, but then doesn't actually really realize what they need. You know what I mean? It's all your ducks in a row. Looking around and saying, I'm doing well here, I'm doing well there, But then there's almost a sense of something missing, right? Because we're not at the 10 of Cups. As positive a card as this can be, it's not the 10. And the 10 represents fulfillment emotionally. With the 9, we're almost like missing that one thing that gets us to that. You know, Virgo, you guys are very practical, right? Very thoughtful. And sometimes it almost creates this dichotomy, right? Like there's either practicality or adventure. There's either intellectualism or like stupidity, right? That being a smart person, being analytical, means that like if you're not following those things, then you're kind of doing like the wrong thing with yourself, right? Like you're living unconsciously in a way. My point is to say here is that there's a call, I think, for you guys in this month to really look at like the beauty behind those qualities. In practicality, in organization, what do we have? We have something that's actually very human. Something that, you know, our ancestors who lived with the earth, who were of the earth, who created like what we know, the beginnings of what we know as society, right? Then practicality kept people alive. Then practicality built cities. You know, it was, my point is it's so human. It's so wild and free in this beautiful way. Nowadays, practicality can maybe feel a little burdensome. But why is that? Because we're kind of missing the connection to the bigger things in life. Sure, going to work every day, you can be responsible and do your job well and blah, 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 blah. But without something to color that life, it becomes dull. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. It's like movement for movement's sake. It's going through the motions. It's taking care of your responsibilities, but like, what else? Where are we going? Here, there's this balance to the Knight of Pentacles, right? He's steady, he's patient, he's practical, he's organized, he's analytical, right? But there's almost like it's in service of the greater dream, the greater ambitions, the greater things that fuel him and give him movement and momentum, right? Look at the way, even just in this image, the horse is reared up on his feet. He's like energized, passionate. Like there's so much energy to this card, despite its like slow and steady kind of nature. This to me is work for work's sake. And you wonder why you've been feeling like this? Do you see how perfectly this goes together? This sense of like, I have everything that I need and I've been working really hard and have all these accomplishments, but why do I still feel off? Why does it feel like there's something missing? This is a beautiful opportunity, and the reason this is such a focus this month is because we've had Venus in retrograde, and the first part of Venus retrograde is going through Scorpio, and in Scorpio, Venus retrograde is having us look at our passions, right? The things that have meaning for us, what we do with our life, what makes us feel powerful. And now it's back in Libra, where the focus has kind of changed. The focus has changed into what gives us pleasure? What makes us feel passion? What do we love? Page of Wands. Burst of energy. A burst of desire. Passion, 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 Virgo. At the end of the month, Venus is going direct in Libra. That's when like all the things that we've been contemplating, what's missing, why do I feel off, why does my life not feel exactly like what I want, why do I feel so unfulfilled, I'm working real hard, right? I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do, right? So why do I still feel? This retrograde makes that clear to us. And then as it goes direct, it empowers us to move forward. Connected to what drives us, connected to what makes us feel passionate. And so much of that here is something that comes very naturally to you guys, right? Is love. But again, I feel like there's been just a resistance. There's been like almost a lack of desire to move out of maybe like a difficult emotional state. And before you guys say like, I've been working real hard, I've been trying, I've been dating, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, like really look back at the way things have been, right? Like if you've been trying so hard, have you been successful? Do you feel good? The Page of Wands is very immature energy. It's not manifested into something that's like tangible and palpable and productive. And you're not moving forward. So how do we get into this place then, Virgo? Let me finish the shuffle and I want to show you something about this card. Page of Wands. See what's over his face? Maybe it's hard to tell in the because the camera. He has this like mask on his face. So what is it that drives us forward? Gets us out of this place? Faith. Vulnerability. Openness to experience. Openness to the fact that like you're right about a lot and almost everything, but like maybe you're not right about everything. Maybe the thing that you've been looking for in another person that you're so sure is the right thing that you need to be looking for, maybe you should like open your mind and consider other people who maybe don't fit that mold that you've made for yourself, right? This is about faith. This is about trusting in the universe, trusting in what's happened to you, right? Trusting in the experiences you've been through and the things that have made you grow, and trusting that that is actually guiding you forward right now. That if you've been hurt emotionally, trust that like, love is out there, Virgo. You felt it before. That's the kind of faith I'm talking about. It's being able to go out into the world, go to a bar, say, I'm going to have a good attitude and I'm going to meet somebody and it's going to be great and I'm open to love. And then like getting rejected and then not letting that change your like fucking faith in people and faith that like love exists. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Security in yourself, the Emperor, right? A sense of your own power. A sense of your own ability. A sense in knowing that you know what's right. And if your heart is telling you love is out there, what happens here, what happens there is sort of almost inconsequential. You grow in power. Now, if you're dealing with the fire sign person, especially an Aries, I don't think this is necessarily talking about them, but I'm almost feeling like this is the energy that they've put into your life that is affecting you now, right? That's what I think about a lot of these people cards in the tarot, right? Sometimes it represents people, but in a way it always brings it back to yourself. And it's incredible how like this could be the personality in somebody else, but somehow that also represents a lesson that you are learning, where you're somehow connected to this energy, but like it's because someone else brought it into your life, but now you're connected to it in like a growth way. Roundabout way of talking about it. If you guys, if anyone reads tarot a little bit, you might understand what I was trying to say there. Maybe. It made sense in my head. But anyway, this could be that energy, that fire sign energy, maybe bogging you down a little bit or having burned you. But now like you're stronger, right? You're more purposeful in your will. He still has like this sort of staff in his hand, right? But he's grown well beyond the point of the Page of Wands, right? Polish to your skills, to your attitudes, to your beliefs, to your perspective. The Hierophant has a perspective. He sees all around him in all directions. He's very lucid, right? And the energy here is asking you, Virgo, to sort of surrender to your own power. And I think that power stems from your heart, to be honest, right? There's a lot of fire energy here, and fire and water. Fire is like the fire that burns in your heart, that burns in your belly, that makes you feel like, you know, driven. Now, I think there's also a lot of opportunities here, Virgo, for you to start over fresh, to adopt a new attitude to whatever it is you're struggling with. If you're someone who's struggling in love, to sort of take a new attitude towards it, to have almost this like youthful, playful attitude to it. Because, again, the person that, whoa, with the fire sign energy, right? Virgo, if you're fucking with the fire sign, I think that they are actually maturing you. Even if the experience you've been having with them is difficult, they're maturing you. Now, if you have a healthy relationship with the fire sign, this could be like nurturing you. Fire signs are great for feeding other people's fires. But power. Virgo, again, if you're interested in love, like, keep your eyes open for fire signs coming your way. I really think that there's this all-around bossness with the Emperor, right? He's not just powerful in like a material world way. It's Aries, right? Aries is sexual. Aries is sometimes angry, right? Sometimes. But you know what I mean? It's invigorating energy. It's of the soul, of the heart. It's well balanced, you know what I mean? It's well rounded. The Emperor represents he's the ruler of all of the kings in the tarot. So all the four elements combine to make this person. Someone who's emotionally intelligent at his best, right? Emotionally available and intelligent. Someone who's smart as a fucking whip. Someone who's practical and patient. And someone who is ambitious, driven, willful. Eight of Pentacles. So when it comes to work opportunities, Virgo, I think that there are possibly even new horizons for you in your work. If you're looking for a new job, if you don't like what you're doing, this is a sort of entrepreneurial spirit. Venturing out, like figuring out what it is that you want and what you want to create. Especially with the Eight of Pentacles, it goes back to what we said in the beginning about finding meaning in your work, finding meaning in how you live your life. There's a lot of growth here, Virgo. There's a lot of expansion. I won't call it like next level. I think that was what we were dealing with Taurus, right? But it is a deepening in a way. It's more like, it's a solidifying of your foundation. So some of you might even be looking at promotions in November. Something that like makes your work pay off. Expansion, the seeker, looking for more. it's almost an extension of this card, right? Being open to adventure, being open to what's out there. Embracing, we have Jupiter moving into Sagittarius. That's a lot of expansive energy. That's its home sign. There's a lot of adventure going to be happening. There's a lot of opportunities for abundance. This is the time. No wonder there's been so much fire energy, especially in the earth sign readings. There's been tons of fire cards. Also, we have Uranus going back into Aries, and that's really like this rebel energy, this I'm sick of the way things are kind of energy. Being driven, Virgo, by love. So you see how things turn around? How in the beginning we're almost dealing with this very superficial, in my head, I don't know what I want. The things that I want, that I think I want, aren't really giving me pleasure and fulfillment. And then you embrace just like letting go and just like moving forward and being focused on having pleasure as well as practicality, as well as opening your heart again. Virgo, I think this month you have to open your heart to something. Again, I'm feeling that way because I feel like you're just still resisting, but you got to open your heart up to something that makes you feel good. It's not time right now, Virgo, to be jaded. And if you know you're fucking Beyonce and you're perfect and you have everything you could possibly want in the world, which is obviously not true. It's as it's coming out of my mouth, I realize how stupid it sounds. But it is about harmonizing with the lovers. It is about union, when two become one, in a literal but also a figurative sense, right? The value of companionship, the things that love can make possible that maybe weren't as possible without it. Not that you weren't capable of it, but you weren't driven to it. Not that you weren't capable of doing amazing things in your job, but there was almost no heart in it. Now, rounding out the end of November, we're finding heart when Venus goes direct, right? In Libra. Perfect energy here for passion, for love, for satisfaction of the heart. Contentment of the heart, Virgo, is the name of the game for you. And like, what I was saying from the beginning, it's like, it's out there. The seeker knows it's there and he's looking for it. He's motivated. And I love how do you see how these two cards kind of fell on top of each other? The way I have it here, because it's all about faith. Hope. No, more than hope. It's faith. There's like a knowing, a sort of confidence, trust in what your heart is telling you. Time to move on in some way, Virgo. I think it's time to move on. Whatever's been holding you back, keeping you stuck, Two of Wands in reverse, unable to move forward, as it's coming out of my mouth, right? Two of Wands is often considered a card about choices, but it also is a card of sometimes being trapped in place. And the connection of choices would make sense, right? If you're not making decisions, you're kind of not doing anything, not going anywhere. And this card, you can see how in the distance between, it's almost like a doorway. And in the distance is this castle Here, you're not getting there. Do you want to? You have to ask yourself that, Virgo, right? Bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Cups. I mean, like, am I right or am I right? What is fueling you guys? What is driving you through this change? To seek bigger things. Your desire for love. Your deep-seated knowledge in your heart that it's out there and it exists and it's real. And that it is possible to have be in love with somebody who's supportive and everything that you need. It is possible to actually wake up in the morning and not only make a lot of money, but do what you love. It is possible to surround your whole environment, your whole energy field with beauty and connection. A lot of what this card, and I said this in the Capricorn reading, this is what's happening for Earth signs in November. This card, you see, it's above the water, but it also has this flow of water coming out of it. And what it sort of represents is a connection, right? Emotional connection. It's coming back into the water. It's a connective force between people. Sorry, Virgo, I forgot to put the do not disturb on my phone. But do you see what's underneath that? What did I just say? 8 of Cups in reverse. Not letting go. Not moving on. Being so hung up on how your life was supposed to be and how it was supposed to look. This is the perfect energy of the 8 of Cups in reverse of someone who says, like, you know, I put so much effort into this, so much time. I'm not going to let this go. Then all that would be wasted, right? But then look what happens. Look what's keeping you from, Virgo. What did I say on this? Not moving forward. Not making the decision to let go and move on. Seven of Pentacles. It's fucking time. Like right now. You've been healing. You've been thinking. You've been investing in yourself. You've been doing all of those things. You've been doing the good work. And now it's time to reap the rewards of that. Now it's time to chop down all these trees, collect your fucking bag, and then move on to the next fucking frontier. It's time to move forward, Virgo. What you want is out there, and it's big. And in November, if you don't, a couple of things can happen. If you don't find a new person, if you're single, or if you don't feel like if you need something deepening in the relationship you have, you're gonna start to see it come into being. You're gonna start to feel the mojo flowing. This energy is sort of, if it doesn't materialize in November, it's like beckoning you to it. It's jump-starting that part of you that actually ultimately will get to this point, that will accomplish this, and will achieve this, and will reach this. November is the starting point for you, Virgo, of moving on with the rest of your life. It's a big starting over month for you. Not necessarily in an external way, but in an internal mental way, right? There's already things that have happened. It's not like there's big change happening, except within yourself. The things that have been going shitty before have happened. The worst has passed, right? This is the rune Asa. It's the rune that represents the god Odin. This is very similar to the Emperor. This is about owning your power. This is about speaking your power into being. This is about Odin is almost a contradiction sometimes, right? Because he's simultaneously like a warrior god and a poet god. He's a magician god and like a wise king. that holistic energy I was telling you about. It's time to now look at your life in all these, use your analytical skills to say, beyond the things that I'm accomplishing and doing, like what other substance do I need to have in my life to be a fully rounded person? And then this guy manifests it. He creates it. He speaks things into being. Your manifestation powers for the month of Virgo, the month of November, Virgo, and I think December and into the new year are going to be on fleek. I don't even think people say that anymore, but it just sounded right. So take heart that what you actually want isn't that elusive. You're capable of having it. It's just a matter of accepting that you want it, acknowledging that you want it, and being willing to like actually assert that you want it. And it takes a while to get to the point of like asserting something, right? You have to like really feel like it's something you want, be certain of it before you actually like, speak it into being. But you know what? Fuck it. You know, be a little reckless. Like, say yes to things you might not normally, like be open to adventure with this Jupiter and Sag energy, right? Be open to what the world can show you that you don't even know. Because the thing about very smart people is that because you think you know everything and because you're typically right, there's a sort of closing off to other experiences. There's a sort of like, I know what I want, and this person is suggesting this thing, and I just like am immediately assuming that like because I don't immediately want it, like that it's not right. How many times do you say yes to something you didn't think you wanted or were like just came out of nowhere and like you ended up having the time of your life? Something you would normally say no to, and you get there and you're like, yo, this is actually pretty fun. I'm glad you talked me into it. Right? That's what I'm talking about here. That's what I'm talking about. Accepting that like that just impulsivity. That going with the flow, that just seeking adventure and letting it happen. All right, Virgos, so really nice reading here. I was very excited to talk to you. There's just so much beauty surrounding like all the earth signs, but especially you, that just it's this infusion of meaning and purpose and like the hustle that you guys have so naturally. If you're interested in a private reading, the link is in the description, as well as Instagram. I have a PayPal link. People have been sending donations if they've been like vibing with my channel, and those have been so helpful and keeping it running. And I really appreciate that if these readings have meaning to you. And then also the description of the cards is there as well. Virgo, you're the last of the night. You're the last of the earth signs. Before I just have the fire signs left. And I feel like I almost learned something from sitting in your guys' energy for a little while. Me as a Gemini, I'm almost the opposite, right? Where I lack the grounding and I just see all the airy-fairy stuff. So hanging out with your energy right now is making me realize, like, you know, the practical mundane stuff is not dry and boring. It's actually what gives like a form to the airy-fairy stuff. Now you, Virgo, is the opposite, right? Might not always like the airy-fairy stuff because it doesn't feel right or real or practical or smart or prudent. But now you need to know that that stuff is what actually animates the body, the form, the material thing, right? They both can't exist without the other. It's like the human soul, right? We have a body and we have a soul. The soul can't live without the body, and the body is dead without the soul. So point is, bring some soul into your life this month, Virgo. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so much family, so much celebration, right? Let yourself love and be happy. I love you, Virgo. I wish you the best. You're gonna do great. And I will talk to you in December. Okay? Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.